Can two overlooked currencies reshape your financial future? Here's what big banks are doing behind the scenes. Welcome back to my channel, Iraqi Dinar RV. Have you ever considered that a foreign currency, one you've likely never used, could play a major role in your financial future? It may sound far-fetched, but two of the largest banking giants in the United States, JP Morgan and Wells Fargo, are reportedly making significant moves involving two surprising currencies, the Iraqi Dinar and the Vietnamese Dong. No, this isn't just online hype or conspiracy. These are calculated steps taken by institutions known for managing billions, if not trillions, in assets. And when players of that magnitude make even small adjustments in their currency portfolios, the financial world pays attention. So, what exactly is happening? Why are these banks investing in what many consider exotic or high-risk currencies? Let's break it down. Big banks making big moves. Recent reports suggest that both JP Morgan and Wells Fargo have started accumulating the Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong through foreign exchange channels. These aren't short-term bets. These institutions are not currency day traders. They're long-haul investors. When they enter a market, it typically signals that something deeper is going on. Such moves are rarely impulsive. They're usually backed by detailed analysis, forecasts, and macroeconomic data. These banks employ teams of analysts and economists whose sole job is to identify future growth opportunities before the rest of the world catches on. The fact that these currencies are suddenly on their radar suggests they see something most investors don't, yet. What's the story with the Iraqi Dinar? The Iraqi Dinar has long been a subject of speculation, especially among investors hoping for a significant revaluation or redenomination. For years, it's had a low exchange rate due to years of conflict, economic mismanagement, and inflation. But now, the landscape in Iraq is starting to change. The government is enacting real reforms, cracking down on corruption, improving monetary policy, and stabilizing its financial institutions. Oil production, a major pillar of Iraq's economy, is increasing, and more importantly, it's being managed more transparently. International trade agreements are growing. Foreign investment is slowly but surely entering the country. This is no longer just about hope, it's about measurable progress. JP Morgan's interest could be seen as a vote of confidence in Iraq's long-term recovery and potential. Vietnam's Dong, a currency on the rise. Unlike Iraq, Vietnam hasn't been weighed down by instability in recent years. In fact, Vietnam is one of Asia's emerging success stories. The Vietnamese economy has posted consistent growth, fueled by booming exports, a skilled labor force, and strong trade relationships across Asia, Europe, and North America. The country is becoming a go-to destination for global manufacturers. With companies moving operations out of China due to rising costs and geopolitical tensions, Vietnam has stepped up as a major alternative. Electronics, textiles, and consumer goods are being produced at scale and shipped worldwide. Despite all this economic activity, the Dong remains undervalued on the global market, something that large investors view as a major opportunity. If the currency begins to reflect the actual strength of Vietnam's economy, it could appreciate significantly over time. Why this matters for everyday investors? You might wonder, what does this mean for someone like me? When large financial institutions start stockpiling foreign currencies, it often means they're predicting long-term shifts in economic power. And although individual investors don't have access to the same data models or teams of analysts, they can still learn a lot by observing these moves. This isn't about following banks blindly. It's about understanding how they think and learning how to apply that mindset to your own investment strategies. Big institutions rarely invest based on hope or rumors. They rely on patterns, data, and global signals. If these banks are confident enough to hold on to the dinar and dong for the long run, perhaps it's time individual investors give these currencies more attention too. The potential for redenomination and revaluation. One concept often discussed with currencies like the dinar is redenomination, the process of adjusting the currency by removing zeros from the notes. This has been done in countries like Turkey and Brazil to simplify transactions, fight inflation, and build confidence in the economy. If Iraq decides to redenominate the dinar in the future, it could dramatically shift both public perception and investor sentiment. A redenomination, when combined with economic growth, could attract even more international interest. Although there's no official confirmation of such a move, the fact that large institutions are preparing for such possibilities shows that something may be brewing. Understanding the risks. It's important to emphasize that no investment is risk-free, especially when it comes to foreign currencies. Government instability, policy shifts, global events, and unexpected disasters can all affect currency values overnight. The Iraqi Dinar and Vietnamese Dong both come with unique risks. Iraq, while stabilizing, still faces internal challenges. Vietnam, though strong economically, operates in a region with geopolitical complexities. If you're considering jumping into the foreign currency space, especially with currencies like these, do your homework. Read economic reports, study political developments, and consider speaking to a financial advisor who understands Forex markets. So, should you invest? The million-dollar question. Should you follow JP Morgan and Wells Fargo's lead? The answer isn't simple. If you're a long-term investor with a tolerance for risk, these currencies might present a compelling opportunity, especially if you believe in the economic stories of Iraq and Vietnam. However, if you're looking for short-term gains or guaranteed returns, you should proceed cautiously. The key is to stay informed, start small, and focus on diversification. Don't put all your eggs in one basket and never invest more than you're willing to lose. The bigger picture. Economic shifts are happening. Whether or not you invest in the dinar or dong, one thing is certain. The global financial landscape is changing. Emerging markets like Iraq and Vietnam are stepping onto the world stage with more stability and economic potential than ever before. As global banks position themselves for the future, smart individual investors are paying attention, not because they're chasing hype, but because they understand that real opportunity often lies in places others overlook. Final thoughts: 2020 could be a pivotal year in global currency markets. With serious moves being made by JP Morgan and Wells Fargo, the dinar and dong may no longer be fringe currencies. As these nations continue their path of reform and economic growth, the value of their currencies could shift dramatically. Whether you decide to invest or not, staying informed about international currencies is becoming increasingly important. Global economies are more connected than ever, and what happens in places like Baghdad or Hanoi can ripple into markets around the world. Keep learning, stay curious, and always invest with a clear mind and a long-term perspective. Disclaimer: this article is intended for educational purposes only and does not constitute financial, legal, or tax advice. The foreign exchange market is inherently risky and prone to misinformation. Consult with qualified professionals before making any investment decision. Iraqi Dinar RV is not liable for any losses or damages resulting from the use or reliance on this content.